Soulful discussions.
All right, so hi, how are you doing today? First of all,
Great.
all right. How did we just meet right now?
Park next to each other.
And you saw me do
paying
what?
Paying for parking like a rookie.
She said, "Whoa, like you must not be from Long Beach because you paid for parking." Absolutely. Yeah, like I told you, like I just tend to do that everywhere I go. But what did I come up to you about? What are we doing today?
We are doing an interview asking me a few questions about feet, mental health, and reflexology.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. You remembered it. Not everybody remembers it. Sometimes I get people remember it. Sometimes they don't. Cool. Let me ask you this. You hear feet, first thing that goes to your mind. What do you think about?
Ew.
Ew.
The foot fetish.
Interesting. Okay, so we got an ew on the channel. Okay, cool. I'll be interested to see like how you react. We're gonna ask you some questions. It'll be encompassing around feet. Feel free to answer however you like in those moments. Okay. What about mental health? You hear that? What do you think about?
Think about the need for people to talk about it more.
Okay, nice. I mean, a lot of people don't tend to express themselves like properly when it comes to that. Also seeking like the help that they need in moments like that when they may be dealing with something, and you kind of reach that brick wall and you don't know what to do. So yeah, absolutely. We're gonna talk a little bit about social media impacts it can have on depression and anxiety. So I'm gonna ask questions about that and just feel free to answer, okay?
All right.
And then reflexology, ever heard of it? Sound familiar?
No, I assume it has something to do with reflexes, but
somewhat, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you some information today, and it'll be about reflexology. You just tell me like what your thoughts are about it after you hear about it. Okay.
Okay.
You ready to start?
Sure.
All right, cool. Start with the first question. What are your thoughts about how the world's like starting to become more aware of mental health and like what we're starting to do about it? How do you feel about that?
It's really good, because before everyone used to be so against it. Like my family was never one to like believe in mental health. You know, people of color were like, "No, you're just crazy." No, we don't talk about it. Yeah, you're depressed for what? Go clean.
Yeah, it's like almost like you're making an excuse is what some people think, right?
Yeah, you're lazy or whatever.
But like years ago, man, like even talking about it or mentioning like dealing with something difficult, whatever like that, most people just like brushed it off and tell you to keep going. So like now we're at the point where we're starting to be able to discuss.
We're starting to understand.
Communicate, yeah, absolutely. In terms of social media, right? First of all, what are your thoughts about social media? And then how do you use social media yourself?
I love social media, but I do think it could be positive and negative. I use it intuitively because you know how there's an algorithm and everything. So I know if I'm looking at like the sad, depressed stuff, it's gonna keep coming up. But if I keep looking at my little memes, the memes are gonna come up. So I do that.
Very true, man. Absolutely, and I think that for most people, it's all about how you use it. Because, like you said, right? If I'm looking at memes or whatever like that, I'm gonna get more information about that. But if I'm looking at trying to compare myself to this person and following this person, like I'm probably gonna get a lot more people along those lines. Absolutely. So sometimes we're our own worst enemies in those situations. Absolutely. In terms of social media, let's say somebody came to you, right, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you the power, change something about it." Is there anything you feel like you could change? Do you feel like it's more about the people using it? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's more about the people using it because there's not much anybody can really change about it because social media is really free range.
Yep.
So there's really nothing you can do about it unless you want to control it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. In terms of anxiety, is there anything that brings you anxiety? And you don't have to go too in depth, but just maybe more surface level things. Is there anything that brings you anxiety? And if so, in those moments when you feel anxiety happening, what do you do to counteract those emotions?
That's funny. I'm like the best person you can ask for.
Oh,
that.
interesting.
I have like anxiety in all aspects of my life. I'm literally, my meds are in the car.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you came up to the right. Let me let you know some stuff.
Me.
There it is. Let me let you know a couple things.
For me, that's what I'm doing here today. I was feeling very anxious this week, and I'm at the beach.
Okay. Is that because you kind of told me like you just got through finishing the internship, you're kind of waiting on news about a job? Is it kind of like around that?
Yeah, because it's very stressful. Like you feel like, what if that doesn't happen? You don't know where you're going.
It's that unknown, right? Like you don't know exactly what's gonna happen. Like you put your best foot forward, and you're like, damn, but was it enough?
That's exactly what anxiety is. The unknown.
Exactly.
And I hate it.
Yeah. And so what do you do like in those moments? Like you said, you come to the beach. Is there anything else like music or anything else?
Yeah, music. It all depends. Like what I feel will help me in the moment.
Okay.
Like at one point I was really into meditation. but then that didn't work anymore because can't shut it off.
You're like, nope.
There's actually like yoga at the Bluff sometimes,
Yep.
so sometimes I'll come there, but they're not there all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sometimes I'll just go for a drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just go to a drive, feel that breeze in you know, on your skin and all that stuff, listening to the different sounds going on around you. Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into these questions now. I'll be intrigued to see what your thoughts are.
All right.
Okay. What are your thoughts about your feet? How do you feel about your feet?
That's funny. I really hate feet. Like, it's a thing that I have. Like, I hate it. Like, don't put your feet near me. I don't even like my own feet. I'm like,
so like a phobia almost?
Not really. It's just like my little niece, she loves to like put her feet on everything, and I'm like, oh, please stop.
So not a phobia, but a strong dislike.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what about your feet? How do you feel about yours, personally?
Depends. If I have them done, then I'm like, hey. But then if I don't, I'm like, let me put my sneakers on.
Okay. So let me ask you this: have you ever received compliments about your feet? Anybody ever said to you, "Hey, you have nice feet"?
No, I got flippers, my dude.
That's never happened to you before?
No.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because you said it's never happened, right? Let's say it did. Let's say somebody saw you wearing sandals and they said to you, hey, you know what? You have really nice feet. What would your thoughts be in that moment? How would you feel about that?
Should I start selling them?
Do I need to start that page up right now? Like, what's up? Like, what we need to do? Okay. So it would kind of be like a little bit of a boost of confidence for you in a way? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. Like, I guess it would be like the same feeling. Well, it depends who it's coming from, too. Like, if it's coming from the crackhead on the corner, it's like, it's coming from somebody, like, cool. You're like,
yeah. You like, oh, okay. Yeah, I feel you. So, yeah, it also does depend on those types of things as well. In terms of compliments you receive, right? Not just about physical compliments, but compliments in general. Is there a certain compliment that when you get it, you're like, man, that really made my day. It made me feel good. Anything like that for you?
No, of course. You know, like people call you pretty, but then somebody calls you beautiful, you're like,
it's like it's a little bit different, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like direct. What's that? Oh, sorry.
What was that?
A direct compliment, but like sometimes I'll be like the last time I was here, actually, I was just chilling and somebody asked if they could take my picture, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Made my day. I look good today. What?
Nice. That's great, man. Absolutely. So compliments like that kind of make you like feel like, man, okay, I'm doing something right. Like things are going right. Absolutely. In terms of if you're dating somebody, you're going to start dating somebody. Is there anything that you would consider to be a deal breaker? Like if you experience that from that person, you'd be like, I can't deal with that.
Comments about my body too early.
Okay. So
it's different when you're saying I'm pretty versus you're like, damn, that ass is fat.
Okay, so like, we're saying in a positive or a negative light, you would consider that to be like, nah, I'm not dealing with that.
Like, that's too quick.
Interesting. Okay. What would you consider to be something that's like a good timeline on that when somebody could be able to like comment on that?
Well, if you think like structured, maybe like date 1 or 2. I mean, it's 2 or 3. But if you're like getting that back and forth already, then like if you're talking to each other back and forth and you build up to that kind of compliment, then it's like comfortable.
So if the chemistry is right, because like I think it's always about that, right? Like if you really feeling the person, they're feeling you, then that might be taken a little bit different. So it's kind of different in each situation, right? Yeah, absolutely. How do you get pedicures?
When I'm getting paid, like twice a month.
Twice a month. Okay, so gel or regular?
Gel.
Absolutely. Last longer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get some people like, it don't last as long. I'm like, what? Are you sure? Like, because my girlfriend gets gel, so I'm like, from what I hear from her, it lasts 3
it's so good.
3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this: have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No.
All right, so that's like when you go see a podiatrist, specialist of the foot. They'll take a look at your feet, make sure your nails are growing correctly. They'll check your toe alignment to make sure it's right. They'll check your feet for like dead skin, fungus. Do all the work there with like medical grade equipment. What would your thoughts be on seeing somebody like that who can give you like more insight into your feet, like not just like kind of painting them up and clipping them, but just like telling you like, hey, this is what's going on with your feet. How would you feel about doing something like that?
That sounds actually kind of cool.
Nice.
Sounds expensive, but it sounds kind of cool.
You know what I've heard though? So I was actually interviewing a lady here like, I don't know, about a couple weeks ago. And she mentioned that there was a lady here in Long Beach that has a Groupon for like going to do that. So I don't know, that may be something maybe you want to look into.
I might look it up.
Absolutely, there it is. How do you wear open toe shoes? Sandals, flip flops, things like that?
During the summer, all the time. Especially if I have my nails done. But during the winter, you ain't seen them.
Keep it covered. Try to keep it warm.
It's boot season.
Absolutely. There you go. Boot season. In terms of going barefoot, how often do you do that?
Kind of just at home or like at the pool, at the beach.
Sand?
Yeah.
What about like if you're at the park, grass?
It depends.
Okay.
Because sometimes, what do they call it? Grounding. You feel like you're connected to the earth or whatever.
Yes.
I'll do that because it's fun, and then I get my niece to do it. So.
Okay. I always like to mention that because a lot of people don't know about that earthing and grounding. So glad that you kind of know about that. Let me ask you this: in those moments when you have experienced that, when you've actually done that, do you feel a difference? How do you feel in those moments?
I mean, it feels really connecting because I'm really someone that loves like the earth and everything. Like I'm a freak over Earth Day.
Are you an earth sign?
No.
Oh, what's your sign?
Fire sign, Sagittarius.
Fire sign, okay, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I just feel really connected because you know when you go throughout your day, you're not thinking about the earth or nothing. You're thinking about the damn spreadsheets you have to do and when you go to the park or something like here,
yeah, but coming out to do like this is like free. It's just something you can do just like 15 minutes or whatever like that.
Take your mind off of everything.
Take your mind off everything. Absolutely. All right, so now can we see what your feet look like?
No.
Okay.
I got socks on.
Why not?
Oh my god, I haven't had a pedicure in a while. I stubbed my toe yesterday, so now my big toe nail is short, and I'm
really?
No.
Really? So let me ask you this: is it about the fact that, because like you said, all those situations, is it more about you don't really know who I am, you don't know if I have a YouTube? Is any of those things also entering into your mind?
I didn't think about that. That's all of it, to be honest.
So all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me kind of give you a little bit of background on like why my channel started, like the mental health aspect side of it. So during quarantine, I was watching another guy's channel, and he was talking about exposure therapy. Are you familiar with that?
Refresh me.
So exposure therapy is all about like for people who feel like uncomfortable in certain situations, right? So like, let's say for example, you're somebody who goes to theme parks, but you're afraid of like heights, so you don't get on roller coasters, right? You want to, but you just don't do it because of that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So what therapists prescribe for people like that, hey, go out, do that over and over again, right? With the mindset being that you're gonna be uncomfortable, you're gonna feel like a little uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the more you'll become more comfortable with it, and it won't be something that's like debilitating or hard for you to do, right?
Yeah.
So when I heard about that, I was like, man, for me, I'm an overthinker with everything. Like I overthink every last situation, right? And I wanted to be somebody who's more like make snap decisions and like, cause not everything requires me to have to think so, so far ahead. So when I heard about that, I was like, man, let me take that concept. I want to tie that together with the subject of feet. A lot of people feel uncomfortable. A lot of people have like negative connotations attached to it. They feel like it's a weird subject, whatever it may be, right? So the whole point of my channel is I go out and interview women, get their reactions to how they feel, right? So some women are like very open and like, I'm not, tripping. I don't really think too much about it. Some women are like kind of like, I don't know. And I get some women who are like, nah, I'm good. But the whole point of my channel is to show that so that people can be more comfortable having a conversation about that. And it's not something that's like viewed as being weird. What are your thoughts about that? Because that's kind of what I'm doing here. Like, so with you, I'm like kind of challenging you with the exposure therapy. I know that you said all those things were factors, but in the moment, can you just practice a little of that exposure therapy, just seeing how you feel? You might feel uncomfortable, but can you just see what happens?
I'm gonna still say no, but no I get you.
Okay.
I understand completely. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're just talking about therapy, so like it reminds me of something I was working on with my therapist. She was like, because I think very structurally. Yeah. So she was telling me like, how do you know if you don't get the statistic? Like, how do you know you don't like something if you don't try it first? You need to get the stats.
And that's what I tell a lot of people too, right? Because like a lot of times we'll just automatically say, well, I don't like this, or I don't want to do this because you think you're not gonna like it, but it's like if you've never tried it, how do you know, right? You don't know. So that's the whole point. But yeah, I completely understand you. In terms of the interview so far, how are you feeling?
I'm comfortable.
Okay, cool.
I don't feel like weird.
I gotta make sure. I always want to ask that just to verify. All right, so let's talk about reflexology, and then I'll let you get up out of here. Okay.
Okay.
So reflexology is all about the different pressure points you actually have in your hands and your feet, right?
Oh, okay.
Those pressure points actually connect to different parts of your body. So, like for example, through massage, through acupuncture, acupressure, you can alleviate stress and tension to various parts of your body. So, like let's say for some example, you're somebody who deals with migraines, right? There's actually a portion of your hands and your feet you can massage that alleviates the tension you feel in those moments.
That's interesting.
What are your thoughts about that? Like, is that something you've heard of before? Is it something that
Not the migraine thing specifically, but I've heard about like getting acupuncture and everything, and how it can help different aspects of your life that you don't think of. I've seen it on Groupon. I've considered it. I just never done it.
Now might be time to go do it. Now that we talking about it, there it is. You know, I'm bringing it back up to you, like law of attraction, right? You've been thinking about it, haven't done it. Now we're talking about it. Maybe it's time to go get it done.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so let's wrap up the interview now. In terms of my approach coming up to you, what were your thoughts about my approach? Did you think it was good? Was it bad? How did you feel about it?
It was good. Yeah, okay. It wasn't like creepy at all because you didn't tell me until like I asked like what it was, and like the way you put it together, it didn't feel creepy. Okay. Yeah, it's not like some weirdo coming up to you like, "Hey, you want to talk about feet?"
So yeah, I tried to make my the name of my channel is called Soleful Discussions. So and it's spelled SOLEFUL. So
Wait a minute, have you done interviews at UCLA and stuff?
Not me.
Oh. No. Because there's somebody similar like talking about feet and stuff. I remember reading about it on Reddit.
I think that you talk. I think I know who you're talking about, but no, that's not me. I actually started a channel slightly after he did.
Okay.
Absolutely. In terms of like the interview from start to finish, did you see how everything was going along in the line? Did it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Did you learn anything new from the information?
I learned a little bit more about reflexology, that there's a term for that.
A little bit more about exposure therapy?
Exposure therapy,
medical pedicures?
Yeah. I never connected exposure therapy and feet.
Absolutely. Medical pedicures too, right?
Yeah, medical pedicures. I know about
that. Absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, and like I said, the whole point of my channel is to normalize the conversation around feet, because a lot of people, like, let's say, for example, somebody was into feet, they like feet, right? And they wanted to, like, express that to somebody else. A lot of people tend to feel, like, uncomfortable doing that because people look at them like being weird.
Yeah, especially with social media nowadays, the feet jokes.
Exactly. And so, but not only that, but, like, I always think about, like, this, I always ask this question when somebody tells me, oh, that's weird. I'm like, well, if somebody came up to you and, like, they were into breasts or butts, is there a difference there? Like, and they're like, well, that's more normalized. And I'm like, well, yeah, exactly. But how does something become normalized, right? You have to have the conversations about it and create comfortability around it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my channel.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of like something, I always ask this at the end, something that you can give the channel from like a mental health standpoint, like maybe a life lesson you learned, wise words that somebody shared with you, anything that you could share with the channel that could be helpful to them.
I mean, some advice I can give is self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Knowing when your bad moments are coming and dealing with it, because it's not easy when you put it off and then you get to the high point and then you're like calling off work frantically, like, I can't come in.
Can't come in, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I can say. Like,
appreciate that.
Self-awareness.
Nice.
Knowing.
Thank you so much for stopping to do this interview with us. All right. And we hope that you have a great one. Okay.
You too.
All right.